We are Rivethead!
I'm Steve.
I'm Derek.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mark, and you're watching Rockin DFW.
Thanks everyone for joining us this week on Rockin DFW. Our special guest is sound technician from the Curtain Club, Chad Lovell, and then we're going to sit down and chat with local Dallas powerhouse Seroja. Y'all stick around.
Get it, boys.
Hey y'all, this is Rockin'Rob. We're about to start bringing this brand new show to y'all called Rockin DFW. We're going to advertise all the local towns, all the good club venues, the sweet spots, where to eat, where to play, all that good stuff. There will be special guests on the show, everything from club owners, producers, lighting directors, tattoo artists, burlesque, and celebrities. These are the people in the art and entertainment industry that bring everything to life. Tune in to Rockin DFW, channel 30.8, KWGA, Rockin'Rob. Peace out.
Coming up next on Rockin DFW, we will be chatting with one of the best soundmen in the Dallas scene, Chad Lovell.
When did you start running sound? At what age? And when did you start taking it serious to make a career out of it?
Well, when I was involved in the record industry, since I'd had a background in video production, I ended up helping David Castell as a second engineer on all the albums that we did for Course of Empire. And so I really learned more about the sound end of it from him, assisting him as we were making the record, since obviously I had a vested interest in our sound. Past that, I built a studio for Course of Empire and actually engineered, produced pretty much the last album that we did. And one day I was hanging out with James McWilliams, who's a good friend of mine, over at Trees, and he said he needed a monitor guy. And he asked me if I'd be interested to do it, and I said, well, I've never done live sound before. He goes, oh, you'll be fine. You already know your way around the gear. You're a studio guy. You can do this. I'll help you out with the feedback and stuff. And that's pretty much how I got my start. So I started running monitors over at Trees back in its heyday.
When did you become permanent over here at the Curtain Club?
Well, after I was working over at Trees, they eventually opened up the dark room, which is where the green room is, and it was a little live music. So they put me over there to have me do front of house there. That's actually where I first ran front of house. It was for a band called the Bad Livers out of Austin, and it was nerve-wracking because it was my first time to actually run the show. I was sweating bullets the entire night. And plus, a couple of the guys in the band really know their sound. So when the band's calling out, hey, could you give me some more 2.5? Can you take 2K out?
Yeah.
You know, I'm in front of the entire audience. You're like, okay, yeah, I got it, I'm on it. So, and I did that for a little while. And then when Curtain Club opened up over here, James came over here, of course. And I'd just come back off a tour. We were opening up for Rob Halford's 2 band, and that tour ended. It just kind of ended. It wasn't good booking. It was a bad time. It was not, what, 98? Yeah. So when I came over here, we did a show here. Actually, we played an entire weekend here.
Yeah. Friday
and Saturday night. And James asked me if I'd be interested in running monitors over here. And since I wasn't on tour at the time, I was like, well, sure, I'll do it. And I did that for 5 years here, 5 nights a week back there.
Do you have any serious mentors in this line of work that you learned from, or you just kind of learned as you went?
Well, I used to bug this guy when I was a young man, Gene Coleman. And I met him at Matley's, I believe. I think you were running sound for an early incarnation of Pantera.
Take us through a process of the show and how you prepare yourself for the night.
Well, most of the time, you know, when you've got a house gig, eventually everything gets set pretty much to where you want it at. So that's a nice comfort zone. It's all the equipment. I'm well aware of every piece of gear that I have. I'm well aware of pretty much every situation you have. I was figuring out the other day with a friend of mine, we were figuring how many bands I probably run sound for, and it's conservatively easily over 15,000 bands at this point. Or at least 15,000 acts. So I've seen pretty much everything. So there's not too many surprises when I come in. The exploding television story, that was an unexpected moment. But in terms of sound, most of the time I usually can tell exactly what's needed. And that's just experience, man.
Do you do each band sound separately, or do you kind of start with the headlining band and work around them?
Well, it just depends on the show. If I have a headliner band come in, now with the advent of digital technology, when you do a sound check, you can save all those settings, which is very helpful. When I came up, it was all analog, and so you would have to dial in all your knobs and then, write it down to a piece of paper, or in the case of the bigger boards that we have, you would unplug everything from your snake and move it down to the other end of the board, do your opening bands down there, and then when your headliner came on, you would move everything back to the other end of the board. Digital eliminated all that need.
Yeah.
So when a band comes in, if they sound check, we spend time and I'll get it all crafted in, save them as a preset for the night, and then go back to just a generic starting point that I have for this room that I know works. And then I generally run the rest of the bands off of that, and when I get to the headliner, I just put their settings back in and we're good to go.
Are there certain bands are fixing to come play that you actually love to have in here and to run sound for?
Oh,
and
yeah.
So what are they?
Oh, absolutely.
Who are they?
I mean, tomorrow night, in case, I know this is dated, but House Harkonnen. I really like those guys. I've known them since they were teenagers, back when they used to be a band called Lee Harvey. So I've got a really good relationship with them as just friends. Plus, they're just really killer players. And I was one of the first sound guys, I think, that when I worked over at Clearview running sound, that didn't tell them to turn down. I just let them go. I'm a big believer in since I've been on both sides, as a musician, I've been in those wars with sound guys that are trying to control you and lock you down. But on the other end, it's like, I also am trying to help you. So if you are too loud, I'm like, hey, you might could turn it down a little bit. It might help the mix a little bit. Luckily, I think I've gained enough people's trust to where sometimes people listen to me on that.
What are some of the problems that might occur to you throughout the night that you have to really get on real fast?
Time schedules. A lot of people drinking beer and wanting to party with their friends, which of course you do, but it's also, you've got to realize that we're on a time schedule. And when you've got 5 bands and people are just kind of taking their sweet time to get up, you're really taking that last band and pushing them into the dirt, because we have to stop at 2. So if a band is scheduled to go on at 1 and a couple of bands before people are trying to push it out, that band doesn't start till 1:20. I mean, that's just not cool. And it puts a lot of pressure on me and the people at the club, because we're not drinking and we're trying to keep the show on time.
And nobody wants to be rushed.
But more of a problem is when they're done and then they want to talk to everybody and all their buddies run up on stage or saying, hey, great set, because everybody wants to be a part of it. They want to jump up on stage with you. That just slows everything down.
And they forget it's time to break down.
We got to break down, we got to move, yeah. And the other thing is then you'll have the next band behind you trying to jump their gear up on to push you off, and then everybody just kind of meets in the middle and then nothing gets done. That's a problem that occurs in clubs all the time that we try and avoid.
What is some of the gear that you use in here, just for outside viewers that are trying to start their own thing?
Well, this particular PA here is an Elite system. This was in Trees originally. This is a fairly famous PA. Nirvana played through this, Stone Temple Pilots, Soundgarden, all the big acts that were Trees in the 90s went through this PA. So there's a lot of legacy in these speakers. Some people know the history, and they come in, they go, I can't believe we get to play through this. But in terms of front of house, it's changed over the years. I've got a Personas digital board. At the time, it was the most cost-effective thing I could get. It's pretty decent. It's fairly transparent EQs. It's nothing that super excites me, but it is transparent, and it does add to the clarity that I have in here now. With analog, there is a lot of crossover between channels, and you don't get that in the digital world at all. If I take a guitar and pan it, in the old analog stuff, you would pan a guitar and it would kind of do this. And with digital, it literally goes there. So that allows me to mix in stereo a little bit better, get a little bit better clarity. So I enjoy that. I've got a good blend of old analog stuff. I like a lot of DBX compression units, TC Electronics effects, which are just industry standards.
Industrial bands like Rivet Head and Razor Blade Dogs, and et cetera, that use, I'm not sure what I'm looking for here, the box, but the effects and stuff on it. Does that intertwine with what you're doing, or is that separate?
Well, you know, some of the industrial bands and some bands, they'll use backing tracks. And if they're mixed really well, it becomes a seamless thing where you really can't tell out front that that's what's happening. You might be aware that it's a bigger sound, but they do have tracks that they're running, and some of those tracks will have affected vocals and things that you blend in. Every band's got its unique little blend of tricks that they do, and so that's just my job. And now with Rivet Head, I love those guys too, and I've worked with them for many years. Fantastic band. Steve and those guys are just really, really great dudes. And you know, Derek, the bass player, is a sound guy, so he already has an idea for how to blend stuff together all right to begin with. So it makes my job a little bit easier. And we worked together for several years, so I really know what they're supposed to sound like.
Yeah, I was always kind of curious to how that worked. I didn't know if you had anything to do with that or if that was something separate they were doing on their own.
Some of it's me and some of it's them. I mean, they have specific things in tracks where he wants specific sounds to happen, and I've got, you know, that mixed in. I know what those cues are, and then other times I'm free to just kind of play with his delays and create stuff on top of that.
Just in your time, you know, just in your time, the last 20 years, I mean, what is your take on the music scene nowadays?
Well, people don't go out as much as they used to just to go see what's happening in a music scene. I think that's the one thing that's changed that I think bothers all the people that have been around for a long time. Back when I was a younger person, you know, on a Wednesday or Thursday night, you call your buddies up and go, hey, what are you doing? Let's go hang out. Let's go down to Deep Ellum and see what's going on. And then you would just go to bar and just go discover bands. It seems like with social networking that people are much more concerned about, is everybody else going on Facebook, and that's their decider. That makes them decide if they're going to go to it or not. Is this going to be a deal, or is this not worth wasting my time? People used to not do that. People used to go out and just go meet people. You know, nowadays we used to go out and you would just go out and go hang out at a bar and drink, watch a band. You might think, well, that band sucked, but then the next band comes on, blows you away, and you discovered somebody you never saw before. And you talked, and you went and tried to hook up with the cool, pretty girl on the end. You know, nowadays I go to a concert and all I see is this.
Everybody's gonna have them cell phones out. It seems like everything's starting to build back up like it used to be back in the day. Slowly but surely, it seems like that. You know, that Deep Ellum Art Festival last week was pretty packed, and
it was packed,
I haven't seen it like that in a while.
Yeah, it was unfortunate that it rained on Sunday, but yeah, it was a good turnout. Deep Ellum Arts Fest is a company that's from out of town, but they do bring a lot of people down here, and it's good because when people look around and they go, wow, there's been a lot of renovations going on down here. There's a lot of businesses are opening. The people that have bought most of these places are really concerned about trying to get creative businesses back down here. And that's been really good for the neighborhood. So everybody's been seeing an uptick in their business, and it's been good.
Are there any other projects that you're involved in right now besides just running sound here at the Curtain Club?
Well, I work with Deep Ellum Radio, as you know. That's just an independent internet radio broadcast. We have a lot of DJs like Robert Miguel, Chris Mueller, local people that are involved in the scene. And we just use that station to basically promote shows and clubs down here and bands. And it's just another avenue to hit the internet with, to get people to have some interest in this area down here and realize that this is a unique area, that this isn't cover band based material. This is all original material that people are writing from their hearts and their minds, and it's their passion. And that's something that's of real value to the city that I think people sometimes forget about.
And that's what we're doing with this show, man. We're just trying to keep it real. There's so many bands out here, and each one of them in their own right, you know, they just work their tail ends off. And it's important that people see what's going on instead of just skipping all of that and seeing, you know, who's big that's come out of Dallas, you know. It's the little people.
Well, they all started somewhere.
Yeah, everybody's got to start somewhere.
I mean, I went to go see Pantera in a club that was a third this size when I was 18, 19 years old, and they were still wearing glam makeup, you know?
I remember coming down here every weekend.
Before they were heavy.
I remember coming down here every weekend and seeing Pool, you know, every weekend.
Yeah, they started right here. I mean, first time I ever heard Bodies was right here on this stage. And I ran monitors for them.
Well, Chad, man, you did a good job, dude. I appreciate your time out of your busy schedule, man. Thanks a lot, dude.
I hope this has helped a little bit.
We're here to sit down and talk to one of the best bands in Dallas. and they're going to be talking to you and telling you everything you need to know about Seroja.
Hey folks, we're here at Trees for the Seroja Saliva Show. Live, this is Seroja right here at Dallas, native local band. First question's gotta be off the top. Do any of y'all grow up together? Are y'all high school friends, or is this just a friendship acquired through the music industry?
Me and Anthony are brothers, so yes, grew up, spent a lot of time together. And personally, my relationship with these guys, I've known Joseph, we were a town apart growing up. Known him since I was probably 15, and Derek I met when I was about 18, just through music in the scene. That's my story.
Yeah. That's it.
Hey, who were some of y'all's musical influences?
I mean, everyone in the band will say Deftones for sure.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And me, I would say, Glassjaw, Incubus.
Oh, that's a good band.
Lower Definition.
All right, on y'all's, you got us released a new EP, Variables. Y'all go into detail with that and tell us what all went into it and how much work was involved and how y'all like it.
You guys want to take that one?
Variables? Go ahead, start it off there.
So yeah, we went out to New Jersey to record that at Sound Wars with Christian and Laz from El Nino. And we spent, I think, a week and a half up there doing that. We shot the Superposition video as well while we were up there. And it was a blast, and we had the time of our lives up there recording that. We love it, and we're really happy with the product.
Okay, describe a Seroja show visually and musically.
Good question.
Yeah,
it's overstimulation.
I mean, I played with y'all personally 5 or 6 times in my past in my music.
You explain it.
Y'all, oh man, they are insane. Insane beyond belief, man.
Lots of sweat, lots of movement, lots of loud sounds and groovy tunes.
Sexual innuendo.
Y'all have been on tour with such bands as El Nino, 10 years, and my most favorite band ever, Seven Dust.
Yeah.
I want to know how that went. What were some of the challenges, good and bad? How did that go?
It went awesome. I mean, as far as the Seven Dust thing, every night, it was what you want to walk into. Big packed show with, we went in having a big production beforehand to where we were on the radio in those cities. We had a PR company behind us pushing us for interviews and things. So we came out there with fans, and it was really cool for that because, going out with Seven Dust, their fans are loyal, like, to the death. And
hang out time with them guys?
Yeah, we had a little bit. Not all the guys. I mean, there was never really, I don't think there was a moment where it was everybody, both bands, but every...
Hang out with somebody for a little while, and they rotate it around, and, they know how to work a crowd.
Man, did y'all pay attention to each band member and the roles they played? Did y'all play and have any...
We were focused on us.
Copy or you idolize?
Everyone does their own thing.
Yeah, because it's different personalities, and the band do different things. Not, the bass player isn't. Vinny is like way outgoing and crowd involved. I kind of just do my own thing and go into my own world. But still there are people who do that in the band. So it's just like seeing the cast of characters, and then you can kind of relate it to your own cast.
What's it like getting out on the road and actually being able to have everybody hear your music now?
I mean, it's the ultimate reward. It's more work once you finally get out there. I mean, it's hard enough to make a name for yourself in your own city. That's nice once you get there, and it is a lot of work. Once you go out and you are going in front of people every night that have never heard you, to win over people is the hardest thing. I mean, if you're not focused and well-oiled and well-rehearsed, and we went in with a full working machine, and every night we were winning over fans, and it's one of those things you can just see it. You can see it in their eyes when they're talking to you that you have gained a new fan, and we're really good about staying in touch with fans.
But it's not your friends and family who see you, so you can kind of just be whoever you want. You get out there and just, like I said, turn into a different person. It was a challenge every night because nobody. I won't say nobody knew us. We had a good little campaign before we went out. But most of the people didn't know us, when we started, and so they're just kind of watching. But by the end of it, they're throwing their fists, they're jumping, they're pushing the person next to them. So that was always fun to watch that kind of progression every night.
What are some of y'all's favorite venues to play here at home?
Palladium Ballroom was sick.
Hey, yeah.
Definitely in one right now.
South Trees.
Oh, yeah.
House of Blues is
Playing does such a great job right there.
Yeah, House of Blues is cool. Of course.
Well, I guess the last question would be, y'all y'all put the work in and things seem to be going real well for y'all. What would y'all tell any band that's trying to form that's brand new? What kind of advice would you give them, and what would you tell them going forward?
Do it from the heart. If you really want to be serious and take it on the road, build a team that believes in you as much as every individual band member believes in it. Because being in a band, you know, you can do so much as a band, and you have to hand off other things to people that do that. You know, we do the music thing and as much business as we can, but when it comes to creating your team, they're the push behind you. That's the behind the scenes. They get less credit for it, but extra important.
What's the most important thing for y'all as musicians in y'all's band? What's the most important thing for y'all?
Mine is being real.
Yeah, just knowing that we have a dedicated group of guys, you know, we're all friends, we all get along.
I know you have a dedicated fan base here in Dallas, that's for sure.
That's obviously the biggest part for us.
Well, dude, we appreciate your time, man. Thank y'all so much.
guys very
Man. Look
much.
forward to seeing y'all rock out tonight, man.
It's gonna be fun. Watch out.
Appreciate it, guys.
Bye, guys.
This local band just got off the road with 7 Dust, so get ready for an awesome performance over at Trees with Seroja.
We appreciate you guys very much. This song is called The Architect. Honestly, I'm eroded, trembled by unseen voices. Somehow I cannot seem to get around. Too much time spent here waiting, too much emptiness in the net. Doing illusion.
Thanks for rocking it out with Rockin DFW. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll have national recording artist Saliva and special guest Todd Bott.
Hello fans and friends of Rockin DFW. Be sure to go to rockindfw.com to be entered into a giveaway of autographed merch from the band of the week, like these t-shirts and these CDs. Even Chad has a plaque on these walls.